Hello and thanks for joining me today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about the situation that we find ourselves in today in regards to the Postal Service and our entire business. You've undoubtedly heard a lot in the recent months about the Postal Service in the media, on the web. People got blogs posted and newspapers, magazines. I also know that with a lot of different voices and opinions competing out there, it can be very confusing and frustrating at the same time. What I'm sharing with you today has been discussed with leaders of the Postal Service, union leadership, mailing industry leaders, customers, and many members of Congress, as well as the administration. And the focus on this message is to give you an in-depth look at our financial picture. Before I get into that, though, I want to take a minute to say thank you for the great work you've been doing over the past several years. Service levels remain at all-time highs. You've made fantastic progress with that, as well as scanning, which gives our customers that high level of visibility that they've been asking for. And don't forget, that helps us gain business, especially in the package area. So keep up the great work with the service, keep up the great work with the scanning. Now, let's take a look at some of the drivers of our financial condition. First off, what you see here is total mail volume since Q1 of 2008. Let me explain this chart to you. The bars that you see show a difference in the same period in previous years. So for example, what you see there for fiscal year 08 on the far left-hand side, Q1 through Q4, you see 3.1%, 3.3, 5.5, 6.3. These are all negative, okay? And if the average of those 4 quarters means that mail volume was down approximately 4.5% compared to 2007. So when you take a look at that whole chart, you can see, with the exception of Q4 last year, that was last June, July, and August, and Q1 of this year, that was October through December. We've been in a negative volume trend quarter after quarter for the past 4 years. You've seen this in the workplace for yourselves, and it's not a good trend. But as we've moved into 2011, we've seen that volume drop off again. And to a large extent, our volume tracks the economy, jobs, retail sales, business investment. That's what drives mail. That's what makes people think about either using mail to advertise or using mail to send invoices and bills out there. And when the economic volume drops off, our volume drops off. Now, if we take a deeper dive into volume, we're going to look at the bread and butter, the driver of the finances in our business, and that's first-class mail. And you can see, after the worst part of the recession in 2008 and 9, first-class mail didn't recover. And why is that, you'd ask? And it's largely due to a couple of things. Number one, online bill payment started to pick up steam right around the year 2000, 2001, and it has continued to increase in the numbers. 50% of people today pay their bills online versus less than 5% in the year 2000. And you've seen that in the mail volume, especially if you're working in a cancellation area in a large or small plant. The other thing that we're seeing is online bill presentment. You're hearing this on the radio and TV now. You're seeing it every time you open a statement. Go green, pay your bill online. We'll send you an email. And a lot of companies now are putting incentives out there not to use the mail. $5 charge for hard copy bills. So those are things that are really having a major effect on that segment of the mail, the first class mail. The single piece mail is down over 30% in the last 4 years. And over the last 10 years, it's over 50%. So this is the blue mailbox mail that we bring in is down. And the most important thing that I said about first class mail is that it pays the bills in the organization. Every 1% of first class mail that we lose equates to a loss of $300 million to cover overhead in this organization. And I will tell you, I congratulated you before about the reduction in costs. We absorbed a substantial amount of cost with the volume that we've lost. As a matter of fact, you've heard me say in testimony that over the last 4 years, if we wouldn't have had to prepay retiree health benefits, we would have had a profit even as we lost 20% of our volume. And that's due to everyone in the organization, the managers, supervisors, and all the employees picking up that steam, being more productive, and doing a great job. Here's the problem, though. We've run out of a lot of those things that we can take out of the system. And as first-class mail continues to drop, understand it puts the pressure on 6-day delivery. It also puts pressure on maintaining 32,000 post offices. It pays for all the transportation that we run. It pays for all of our salary and benefits. So when we lose that kind of volume of first-class mail, it has a negative impact on everything that we do. Now, let's look at standard mail or advertising marketing mail. And you can see that same big drop-off. And that follows the recession a lot closer than what we saw in first-class mail. It came back. You can see the volume dropped off in 2009, came back in 10, but it's dropped off again. And standard mail has also surpassed first class as the largest percentage of our volume. And as the economy has slowed down these last couple months, you can see so has standard mail because, again, it tracks what people are doing in their businesses. Now, the key thing on standard is this. It takes 3 pieces of standard mail to make up for the loss of 1 piece of first class. So for every piece of first class we lose, in order to balance the books, you've got to make sure that you bring in 3 new pieces of standard. So that's why we've been introducing things like Every Door Direct, simplified mail that you can get out there and a customer can use to deliver, because it helps our bottom line. The problem is when you're in the financial trouble that the whole country's in, people aren't spending the advertising mail money, and so we're losing on both ends. Now, if you take a closer look at our financial status, you can see our revenue is $49.9 billion through June of 2011 against a plan of $51.3 billion. On the expense side, we've absorbed the majority of fuel costs, but we still need to take a number of activities into play to make sure that we continue to reduce costs. So if you're a letter carrier and you're seeing us adjust routes, that's why we're doing it. We've got the JRAP process in place with the NALC and with people at the local level to make sure that we continue to consolidate routes. You can't, as that first class has gone away, that again has pressure on routes, and that's why we've got to consolidate. If you're in a plant and you've been in the process with an area mail processing, that's why we've done that, and there's more to come. And in the post office with delivery unit optimization, where we've taken a lot of small offices and consolidated people into one larger office, we've done that in order to reduce some of the costs going forward there. The bottom line is this: we have got to constantly look at what we can do to cut expenses in an attempt to track revenue going forward. And people will say, well, this is a service business. We shouldn't have to worry about that. We are a business. You work in a business. You know, we have revenues that come in, we have costs that we face, we've got capital decisions that we make by like buying equipment or buying new vehicles. You know, we are no different than any other business out there. You have to have revenue, and if you don't have revenue, you got to get the costs out. It's that simple. And there's nobody that's going to come in here with a bucket load of money to make up that difference. Now, in addition to operating income, we are pre-funding retiree health benefits. So far this year, we've done $4 billion through June. And like I told you, if it wasn't for those payments, we would have been profitable. But hey, we're required by law to make the payments. That's part of our financing plan. We have to do that. Our total plan this year is going to be a payment of $5.5 billion. We will, at the end of this year, have about $49 billion into that fund. The problem is, as it stands today, we don't have enough cash to make that payment and potentially could be in default. And that's why you're hearing a lot of the discussion about changes in laws going on up on Capitol Hill. But overall this year, we've got a loss of $5.6 billion versus a plan of $4.0 billion. You know, as the volumes have gone down, revenue's gone down, like I said earlier, and as a result, we face cash flow issues that are a problem right now. And just so you know, that's why I asked the Board of Governors to work with me and suspend FERS payment. You know, we've overpaid into FERS by about $7 billion. By holding some of that cash back, we'll make sure that we've got money to make all of our payments, including your pay and suppliers and vendors pay, to make sure that we keep the mail moving. And that's something I'll continue to work on over the course of the next year. You've got my commitment that I will continue to talk with you, to raise your level of knowledge and participation in this organization so that you are fully aware of the state of the business and that we'll all take the steps that we'll take to get this organization moving forward. As always, thank you for the great job that you do every day, and I'll talk to you next time.